Hello, welcome back to the MichaelSisco show. I'm your host, MichaelSisco. Good to be back on the channel. It's been a couple of weeks. I took a bit of a break because, with the campaign and all that, it's been pretty difficult to find, my hair's a mess, to, make time for the show, but I need to get better at it, at least doing a weekly stream. So anyways, as most of you have heard already, the Trad Forum was this last weekend in Argos, Indiana, and it went off without a hitch. I know a lot of people were, what I would say, irrationally concerned about the forum because, PTSD from Fed infested events of the past and whatnot, and the way that they've been twisted. But what's going on, Matt Gagnon? Or Gagnon? Is that a French last name, like Gagnon or something like that? Anyways, everything went off without a hitch. I had security. We had some light screening of people who attended, kind of behind the scenes. But some people used pseudos. So I mean, it's also in the middle of nowhere in Argos, Indiana, which was by design. So I wasn't expecting any trouble, but we prepared for it anyways. I had professional armed security. Everyone was wanded as they came in. And as far as I know, we weren't infiltrated by anybody, by any leftist media or whatever. So, but the event itself was really just white pilling to be around like-minded people. It was awesome to meet a lot of the super chatters and fans in real life. So that was cool. And I put it away, but one guy, he was like, "I don't do super chats." But so this is a real life super chat, and he just handed all the speakers, I think all the speakers, about $130 worth of silver coins. So that was neat to get. I collect silver, so that was a pretty cool gift. But yeah, so all the speeches were great. We started off with Michael Witzke, who was literally like one of his live streams. He was decided to sit for his speech, which makes sense. We had no podium because of the moron that organized the event didn't get a podium. But I thought the venue would have a podium, but they didn't. But otherwise, the venue was perfect. We had about 70 people attend. And if we use that venue going forward, there's a lot of room to grow. It can hold up to 307 people. So hopefully next year, the same people come out and more people decide to come because of the success of this one. Perhaps it'll be a growing event every year. And it went off without a hitch. The footage will be sent to each speaker for them to. I decided I didn't want to have any sort of residual income from it going into my current company because I'm going to kind of shake that up a little bit. The company will be mostly because of my activities outside with the campaign, going to be dissolving Saints Edward Media. But I do want to kind of create a nonprofit to facilitate pushing traditional values, holding events like this so that we can get together, exchange ideas, and to really reassert traditionalism into our culture. Now, I think also it would be because I really did this on a shoestring budget, which completely relied on borrowing money from friends to basically pay them back out of the ticket proceeds. And it's really not the ideal way to do it. It would be better to have a lot of that upfront from donations through the nonprofit. And then that way, really we could make a better experience next time. We can up our game. Maybe the same type of leap that like AFPAC from like AFPAC 1 to AFPAC 2. I don't know, that's pretty ambitious in my mind, because AFPAC 2, the production quality was just insane. It was beyond what I expected it to be. But that's kind of my idea, is to let's create a nonprofit for these type of events. That way we can make it a better experience for next time. It went off great. Everyone loved it. They had a great time. Speakers were happy. Even Dr. Michael Jones was happy. Might be reading, doing some light reading, and he even signed it. Said congratulations for a great conference. So, but all the speakers seemed satisfied. The attendees were happy. I just want to continue to just use this as a foundation to grow and make a better experience next time. I haven't quite decided where to do it, but I think, the audience, the crowd there, voted heavily in favor of returning to the same venue. However, I think they were a little biased because, obviously the people attending in the Midwest, that's convenient for those who were there. So I might do a poll on Twitter or Telegram for next time, but considering doing one in West Virginia, or maybe we'll go down south to like Florida or Texas. So we'll see. We'll see what the Telegram masses say. But if you want to watch the speeches, my videographer has to get that handled. He immediately went on another shoot as soon as we got back. So I don't think we'll have the footage out to the speakers this week. Probably I'm shooting for next week. So check out and follow Michael Witkoff, David Patrick Harry, Luke Kindrat, and Dr. E. Michael Jones. And of course, I'll be publishing mine as well. They're going to basically decide how do they want to profit from it, because it's not really fair for those who spent the money and traveled from all across the country. Some people came from California. So they paid $30 or $50 to get in and had to get hotel rooms and travel expenses. It's not really fair, at least in our minds, to just, give it out for free for people who didn't really invest anything in it. So I'm leaving it up to each speaker to determine if they want to just, it's their choice. If they want to post it for free, that's cool. If they want to maybe have it behind like a membership, one of their membership things, or a paywall, then they can do that as well. So that's how we're going to do it. And hopefully I can get them their videos, the footage of their speeches and the Q&A in about a week. So yeah. So how's everyone doing? I see you watching. I see the viewership, but no chats. Also, I'm traveling to Florida this week for campaign stuff, for business. We'll call it business. I'm not supposed to really mix this platform with campaigning. So, but I do have some personal, I put in the links, my HandCash for BSV and my Cash App. So I do have some personal expense, some personal funds would be nice for my travels, because my business funds, they don't cover everything that I might need personally. So it only covers like my travel expense, my lodging and food. But anything else that I might want, like leisure or whatnot, any sort of personal leisure is not covered under my business expenses. So, help a brother out. I know, or not enough time to mail silver coins for me. Doorman 360 says, I'm glad to hear the operation was a success. I appreciate it. And I might do call-ins after we cover some of the news. So $20 entropy chat or more, I will drop the link to come on the show, and you can hop in. But on to some of the news. This has been quite an interesting week. We'll start with, we're going to end with what's more on the forefront of my mind, because I'm going to kind of segue into what I've been saying for a long time. Well, maybe I should mix it up. Actually, I'm gonna call I have my notes and my show prepared, but I think I want to do things a little more backwards than I initially intended. And I also forgot to set up Entropy. I'm so rusty that, I should really stream more often so that I don't get rusty like this. I'm setting up Entropy now so that you can send me super chats, Entropy chats. All right, I don't have headphones on, so we're gonna get some echo. Unless I don't have headphones on. All right. Hey, let me know how everything is. Doorman360 says these kind of events help solidify any future that Orthodoxy may have in the local political realm. Yeah, and I just the people. There's something tangible when you get together in real life and you actually get to meet other like-minded people, network with them, build these relationships that you may not otherwise have had. I think that's important. I know I've pushed the idea of building community and building these real life communities based around our faith and building these Christian strongholds. But, I really don't think that that's just going to happen out of nowhere. I think that these sort of events like the Trad Forum and what Father Deacon Ananias is planning up in Montana, I think that's kind of the forerunner for this even happening. We have to have these gatherings, meet each other in real life, and before we can ever expect to just have people get up and move to another part of the country to build a community, we have to start by just getting together and having these meetings. Ray says, would have got here sooner, but YouTube notified me too late. You didn't miss much, Ray. We were just recapping the Trad Forum a little bit, so you didn't miss too much. In fact, I just got Entropy up just in time for you to send an Entropy chat. So, but hang on, I do want to pull up a article. I'm gonna start a little completely backwards of how I plan to cover the news. Because I think what's really on my mind anyways is, as most of you know, let me find this article real quick. Lauren Witzke yesterday had her personal bank account closed by Wells Fargo. And it for whatever reason, it always seems like a shock to us that this happens, but it's not the first time. And I even wrote about it. If I can find the article. I wrote about this for the American Sun 3 years ago now. I'm just looking for it. But here we go. The American Sun, which I think the editor of the American Sun was at the Trad Forum. I don't want to dox him. I didn't even get his real name. But he asked if I wanted to keep up an article that I wrote called Public Homosexuality in the Public Health Crisis. And I said, yeah, keep it up. It's full of facts. The left isn't even going to use it against me because they don't want you to read it. So because it's just full of facts. It's called the Homosexual Public Health Crisis. But anyways, I found my article. Oh, Pano, dude, it was good to meet you in real life, man. It was cool to put a real face to the name. Radix says, great job with the forum. Hopefully we see you there next year, Radix, you know. Pano basically just summarized up my speech that I gave. Find your wife, move to Orthodox stronghold, make babies, catechize them, make them saints. Yeah, that was pretty much my speech. Pretty much. Let's see. Pano says, we'll do what Father Seraphim Rose did. Lots of people converted and moved to California around the monastery. Well, I'm not going to suggest anyone move to California, honestly. Lowen said, in his latest stream, Brother Augustine alluded to the possibility of a trad forum in late July/early August. It's not a quote unquote trad forum. See, what I'm basically doing is building kind of a coalition between Catholics and Orthodox traditionalists. Obviously, I think the Orthodox outweighed the Catholics in number there, but perhaps we were outdone in clout with Dr. Jones. I don't know. But no, I think what Father Deacon Ananias is organizing is sort of like an Ortho Bro retreat. And it's I think just Orthodox. I think they're planning on having like Jay Dyer, David Patrick Harry, Michael Witkoff, Father Deacon Ananias, of course. And they want me there. However, I think the weekend that they're planning, it's going to be in Montana. I think in Butte. But the weekend that it's currently being planned for looks absolutely terrible for me. So I don't know. Maybe I'll be there. Maybe I won't. But yeah, just keep an eye out with follow Father Deacon and Jay Dyer. I'm sure Jay's going to push it. So, you know. But anyways, we were getting into news. So yesterday, Lauren Witzke's bank account was closed, and it appears that this is just political, for strictly political reasons. It does not appear that it was due to January 6th because, well, it happened also to Pete Diabroska. And he was not in D.C. on January 6th, but he was associated with Lauren Witzke's campaign. I initially was the campaign manager, and I set up Lauren Witzke's campaign account with Wells Fargo. This was back in beginning of 2020. And it was... I actually liked using Wells Fargo because it was convenient to deposit campaign checks. When we get contributions, you can do it through the machine, and it was just conveniently located everywhere. But, they didn't just shut down her campaign account. They shut down her personal account, which she has always used. Like, as long as I've known Witzke, she's always banked with Wells Fargo, which, I crappy bank to bank with, but they're pretty predatory, and they've had lawsuits where they were for basically being predatory, unfair practices against the consumers. But it appears that Lauren she's been hinting at running again somewhere else, and perhaps as a mechanism to keep her from using Wells Fargo again as her campaign account. They decided to stop doing any banking with her while she's in Florida by herself. Well, not by herself, but she's in Florida All her money is kept in her bank account, which is not very smart, by the way, but most of us do this, is to have one account where all our money's in. And so if she wasn't around friends and allies, she would be stranded with no way to get back to Delaware. So fortunately, she has a mom, and she had Milo, who is actually feeding her. So whatever you might think of Milo, at least he's feeding and taking care of Lauren Witzke. But yeah, it should be illegal. Ray says it should be illegal. It should be, but it's not, I guess. And I have someone on my campaign who's very well connected with the banking industry who has offered to help Lauren. So we reached out to her, and they're in touch. Hopefully she takes advantage of that, and we can make Wells Fargo pay. If we can really make them pay for this, we can bring the suffering down on Wells Fargo. So, but it really is. This is nothing short of Wells Fargo targeting a woman, which is ironic because the Charlie Scharf, who is the CEO, the president, or whatever they call him, of Wells Fargo, they present themselves as this company that values diversity and inclusion, but here they are banning a woman, debanking a female conservative because she has traditional Christian views as it relates to homosexuality and Christian sexual ethics. And that's what you can only surmise that that's what it is, because it obviously wasn't the January 6th thing, which even if it was, she didn't enter the Capitol, and was just attending a political rally. But she has been espousing these very traditionalist views on True News with Milo. So it appears that that's why they don't want someone who supports traditional marriage and traditional Christian values potentially they don't want you personally using your personal banking with them, and they certainly don't want her to run again and then use them for the campaign account. So yeah. But this is not the end. I mean, if it could happen to her, it really can happen to any of us who dare to speak and espouse traditional Christian values. And Ray says, so she can't get any of the money back. Well, this is what they did. They knowing full well that she was in Florida, they mailed the check back to her residence in Delaware. So technically, no, they didn't steal her money. They just made it impossible for her to get it. And if she didn't have her family and her friends to help her, well, she would just be stranded with no way to get her check. Look who's in the chat. We got Based Homeschool Mom, who I got to meet. It was my pleasure to meet her and her daughter at the Trad Forum, which, what a mom. She brings her 18-year-old daughter to the Trad Forum. That's just cool. Like, imagine having a mom that brings you to an event, like that drags you to an event to see Dr. E. Michael Jones. And what a cool thing. Like, the opposite of a boomer mom who drags you to like an AC/DC concert or something. So I don't know. It was cool. It was cool to meet Based Homeschool Mom. So that was actually one of the highlights for me, was that, So, and her daughter enjoyed it. Very good, very good. So I'm curious to know, Based Homeschool Mom, whose speech did she enjoy the most? I'm gonna have to go with, For those who didn't attend, this will be kind of like minutia, but I really enjoyed David Patrick Harry's speech the most, honestly. Well, of course, I think Dr. E. Michael Jones was probably the most entertaining. because he was basically roasting Roosh the whole time. Roosh V was in attendance, by the way, so it was cool to see him again. I met him back at AFPAC 1, but it was very brief, so I got to hang out with him and actually have a real conversation with him. And of course, while we're having that conversation, people are trying to take pictures with both of us, and like, can I get a picture with you? Can I get a... So it was a little tough, but we stuck it out. We hung out a little bit, but yeah, the Roosh roasting was absolutely hilarious, and I'm gonna try and bring Roosh on this stream. Luke's speech was probably the most impassioned, and I would say, so some people would probably lean towards Luke's being the best, but DPH really brought out my inner nerd. So yeah, Luke's was definitely the most inspirational. Going in, I kind of knew that my speech would be different natured than the others, and probably not not as good, honestly. But it was important for me. Like what I wanted to talk about, I felt like I knew would be not as interesting as everyone else's, but I thought it was important. So I got it out. I talked about building Christian strongholds and how to engage, that we have to engage the political process, and that for those of us who are skilled at engaging it, it's actually our duty. It's our God-given duty to do it. So, which I paraphrased Father Josiah Trinum, but yeah, I think DPH was my favorite. Luke Kindrat was definitely the most inspirational. Yeah, Brother Augustine was a good opener. Yeah, this is a good description. I thought Brother Augustine was a great opener. Yours was political strategy, maybe not as sexy, but necessary. Yeah, I think if you pair like mine with Luke's, which he followed mine, so it was a good, everything segued perfectly into each other's speech. And David Patrick Harry was a great table setter for Dr. E. Michael Jones. So it seemed like it just flowed perfectly from Michael Witkoff talking about basically like Christian just war theory, basically. Yeah, I thought they all flowed perfectly into each other. Almost like a good it's almost as if someone planned it that way, and I really can't seem to think who could have planned it. Whose shoes are you talking about? Based homeschool mom. We're gonna have to get you in the Telegram chats. Because Pano says, "Are you on Telegram?" We're gonna have to get you in the MichaelSisco show chat. So send me a message at MichaelSisco on Telegram. Yes, you have to be on Telegram. Telegram is where it is at. It's where it's at. So all the good things happen on Telegram. Anyways, I got way sidetracked. But so we know this happened to Lauren Witzke. I'm going to share my screen really quick. We are going to... I just wanted to read this article that I wrote back on July. It was published on July 30th, 2019. So I wrote, in recent years, those on the right in the political scene have become very much aware of the atmosphere of censorship and deplatforming. Obviously, nothing happened. It is getting hard to keep track of who has been tossed off YouTube, Patreon, and various other platforms. Those who are remaining have experienced intentional algorithm changes, which have led to less views and subscribers, making their continuous growth and audience building nearly impossible. This mostly was expected, and for those with thick skin and some ingenuity, kept driving on even despite demonetization of certain channels and videos. No mind, content creators can always come up with new ways to make money off content, with sponsors, subscriptions, and selling content, right? Wrong. Now the banking services and payment processors are denying services to public dissidents. Just to name a few who have been banned from using PayPal, Red Ice's Lana Latif and Henrik Palmgren, Faith Goldie, Richard Spencer, and Alex Jones. Hey, those are some names. The payment processor, Striker, denied its services to free speech social media service, Gab, disguising the reasoning as too much porn on the site, as if there isn't porn on Twitter. And I don't think there's any porn on Gab. I'm not sure about back then. What is even more alarming is Chase Bank's debanking of Enrique Terrio and the bank's statements to Project Veritas, who were undercover, saying, "We don't do business with those types." There's also the more widely publicized refusal of services from Bank of America to gun stores or gun manufacturing companies. It is tempting for some traditional Christians and those on the religious right to dismiss these people as far-right, white nationalists, or as being a conspiracy theorist. But the harsh reality is traditional Christians, such as the Roman Catholics and the Orthodox, are next. And well, we just saw that with Lauren Witzke. It will be impossible to win the culture or even continue to function without a banking system that is friendly or at least tolerable to the cause. The religious right must create or secure a bank. One thing I would add, maybe now, at the time when I was writing this, I wasn't really aware of alternative options, but we have things like BSV that we could use, various cryptos, and we could look into alternative options with that. I know that some of them offer like cash cards that have like checking account and routing numbers. So there are alternatives, but we have to get serious about switching to them. And a real bank would be nice. Traditional Christians are fast becoming public dissidents, subject to public censorship and punishment. If you do not believe that, then try espousing on Facebook or Twitter the traditional teaching of the Orthodox or Roman Catholic Church on same-sex marriage or even abortion. Likely the post will be reported, removed, your account suspended. And that's why Lauren was banned from Twitter, because she called pedophilia demonic. So, how things are accelerating. This isn't exactly a new phenomenon. The gatekeepers of mainstream media have been doing this likely since the beginning of their criminal existence, but it seems amplified due to the relative freedom of bypassing them, which has been enjoyed on the internet. However, such privileges are being clamped down on. Prominent pro-life and Orthodox author Frederica Matthews Green recently gave a speech at the Ancient Faith Podcasters and Writers Conference, in which she gave an account of her efforts to push Christianity and pro-life mainstream. To some degree, she was very successful in getting it published in some mainstream publications, even contributing to national public radio. One such publication was from the Washington Post, who had published some of her work before. But in 1995, she submitted a work that had nothing to do with the topic of abortion or being pro-life, but having written extensively on the subject in the past, the Washington Post abruptly decided that she was not the kind of person they would publish anymore. Effectively, she was deplatformed. She used the story to correctly make the point that Christians are being pushed to the margins of society, the fringe. Deacon Nicholas Couture at the same conference, while discussing the need for Christians to create a culture, stated, "Lilies on the edges of the field are beautiful too." Being content to live on the fringes is fine. At least traditional Christians are beginning to realize that they are now considered dissidents too, along with the white nationalists and other variations of the far right. Living on the fringes and being content to stay there, frankly, isn't good enough, and considering the power and depravity of the enemy, probably won't even be allowed. Without its own financial institution, the reactionary and the religious right are powerless to affect culture and potentially powerless to function in the marketplace at all. Good luck eating. The post-revolutionary governments in which we find ourselves subjected to after following the Enlightenment have given society a bad bargain. Supposedly free from the tyranny of kings, who arguably provided rather non-personally intrusive rule, popular governments such as ours have provided easy means for power-hungry financial institutions and those profiting from them to secure power. Man, I was based back then. When most people refer to the cathedral, they are referencing the university system, mainstream media, and establishment political actors. The latter, commonly referred to as the deep state, is only scratching the surface. The real power lies in the global banking system, the very same ones who have become apparent culprits in international human trafficking, as evidenced by the whole Jeffrey Epstein debacle. Mega banks such as Barclays Bank, JP Morgan, Chase, Goldman Sachs, Deutsche Bank, and Credit Suisse, and other private corporations who are Federal Reserve members are in essence our rulers. Name them! Name them! Former Attorney General of the United States Eric Holder stated, "I am concerned that the size of some of these institutions has become so large that it does become difficult for us to prosecute them when we are hit with indications, and that if you do prosecute, if you do bring a criminal charge, it will have a negative impact on the national economy, perhaps even the world economy." I don't know, maybe globalism isn't such a good idea after all. If these institutions are accountable to nobody, they hold absolute sovereignty and power. They are seeking to rule the globe via their global economy. David Rockefeller admitted to so himself in his 2002 memoirs. Domestically, they utilize tax-exempt foundations such as George Soros' Open Society Foundation, the Carnegie Institute, Ford Foundation, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to undermine traditional values and principles, pushing moral relativism, socialism, and collectivist ideas. This isn't exactly new, as pointed out by Anthony Sutton in his book, Wall Street and the Bolshevik Revolution. Wall Street bankers financed the Bolshevik Revolution. They also, specifically attacking Christianity, are propagating various pseudo-Christian groups who advocate for same-sex marriage and abortion rights. The banking system, which seeks to expand its New World Order across the globe, committing atrocity after atrocity with impunity, this is what reactionaries and traditionalists are up against and reliant upon for banking. Traditional family values, Christian sexual norms, and community are a threat to the institution's absolute control. They won't tolerate traditionalism for much longer. Preparation must begin now if it isn't already too late. If traditionalists and Christians are to have any chance of building even a subculture, they need to be self-sufficient with finances. A good start would be to have a small bank account or credit union, which could serve as a safe haven for Christians, especially public outspoken ones, to have a place for basic banking services for both personal and business. To continue to sell literature and receive support for broadcasts, it is essential that a business exists that will process their payments. Longer term, it may be necessary for dissidents as individuals to have a bank such as this for mere survival and participation in the marketplace. The bank should also provide its clients with personal and business loans in an honest manner, free of usury. What base dude wrote this? Cool it. This is just a matter of survival. Ultimately, to really take control over a culture, sovereignty must be attained. A small bank as refuge is a good place to start, but it needs to be leveraged into or grown into a powerful force, such as the various mega banks. It may be that Christian entryism is a necessity into the current institutions. Bright and innovative traditionalists must act and determine the most effective manner to acquire such an institution. Muslims have been successful with their own Islamic banks, all while rejecting usury. Once upon a time, Christians rejected usury as well. Perhaps it would be possible to purchase an already existing Islamic bank and convert it to a Christian one. A possible near-term solution could be to create a Christian or broader right-wing credit card and or payment processor. The mega banks and elites who are guiding our society into something degenerate and hostile to traditional Christian values will not continue to tolerate a Christian voice or subculture. Eventually, they will allow no distinction to be made between traditional Christians and white supremacists. It will simply become impossible to affect or transform the culture without first building institutions to compete with and eventually replace the ones in power now. Retreating into peaceful, secluded Christian enclaves is also not necessarily an ideal option. Without institutions in power, people must rely entirely on the goodwill of the government for protection. How did that work out in Russia during the Bolshevik Revolution? Were not hundreds of monasteries destroyed? Even the Amish may not be spared from the coming storm. May Christians enter this period of persecution with more than preparation in years past, with not so much for our own well-being, but for the good of the world. Righteous power begets the truth and beauty in which traditionalist Christians wish to restore. May our brightest minds in the movement come together to make this happen. So yeah, I wrote this back in July of 2019. I never imagined. Well, I did imagine it. It's just, it's frustrating that just a poor white guy like me with the laptop can see this happening in years ago, sound the alarm, and nothing ever happens. It's just our leaders don't care. The GOP is not helping us. They're in on it, frankly. But the good news is, Base Homeschool Mom is on Telegram now, so that's a major white pill. That's a major white pill. I'm trying to see what's going on in the chats. See what. A lot going on. I can't keep up. Ray says, can you imagine how it will be in 5 years? Lord have mercy. Doorman says, I had no idea that Islamic banks were usury free. Yeah, it's actually against Sharia law to charge interest. So they do actually have Sharia compliant banks. So, I mean, if they can do it, we can do it, right? But yeah, that's that. It's obviously still a problem. But I think the crypto and the decentralization might be an option for us. I would say careful with Bitcoin, because MasterCard, who is obviously part of the world banking system, is heavily invested in it. So I think that's basically been co-opted by our oppressors, basically. BSV is more true, is actual real Bitcoin, true to the original vision of Satoshi. So that's an option. It's on a public ledger, so you're not going to have it's on the up and up. It's not illegal. But if you're looking for a more private option, there's Monero. So, but that's a little sketch. I mean, it's basically used by the CIA to launder money for their criminal activities. So I don't know. I'm a BSV guy. Everyone I've met in BSV are all stand-up people of good character, and I support the project just to support these honest people. Honestly, they're the project to me is legitimate, and I buy BSV not because I think it's necessarily a great investment. It's just a project that I want to support, and I want to support good people. So yeah, we have to look into alternatives, either through crypto with our own banking system, or Bitcoin has entered into mainstream normie. Yeah, well, it's been allowed to. BTC has been allowed to become this mainstream thing. That's because it's not real. It's not what it's presenting itself as. But BSV is the real Bitcoin. And it's being suppressed. You can't even get it on Coinbase because there's basically MasterCard and all of the coins that they're invested in they're pushing propaganda that suppresses BSV. You can only get it on certain exchanges. So I use Bitrex. You can also use like Edge, the Edge app. You can find it. But I use HandCash is my wallet, which you can see in the chat in the description. If you want to send me some BSV, very welcome. I'm going to Florida this week, and it's for business. My business expenses only cover lodging, food. But if you want to help me out with some recreation, and so maybe I can get some new Hawaiian shirts down in Florida, you can send me some money on Cash App or on HandCash. Send me some BSV. But yeah, I initially planned to hit the news stories first, but I felt compelled to read my essay from years ago on the American Sun, which is a good website, by the way. The American Sun. I think it's theamericansun.com. I used to be a writer there. I still probably could make some submissions, but Pano, thank you for the entropy. Was that an entropy chat? It's time to liturgize in person. 5 USD. Thank you so much, Pano, for supporting the show. And again, it was an honor to meet you in real life. John Hamilton says, what are you doing in Florida? I'm actually going to the Faith and Freedom Coalition conference in Orlando. So it's for the campaign, obviously. But I would like to actually do what you're next. I would like to go chill on the beach and have a little bit of fun. So if you guys want to fund some fun for me, that would be nice. So I'm not constrained completely. All -1 says, hey, heard the trad forum went very well. So it exceeded my personal expectations, which, when you're organizing an event like this, you're always a little nervous. I was paranoid about the sound system not working. And I actually booked the venue sight unseen. So, of course, I was anxious about how the venue would be. Will there be tables? I didn't even know what shape the tables were in. I just kind of bought tablecloths at Walmart enough. I bought the square ones and the circles. So, yeah, but it all worked out so seamlessly, which honestly is probably the hand of God. And I really believe that, because everything was just too perfect. So, but yeah, we're going to do it again next year. I'm going to try and create a nonprofit to help facilitate that. And that way we can step the game up, make it better than it was. We can at least get a podium, maybe even a Titantron, so that we can have intro music for all the speakers with the little videos. And then maybe if we raise enough money, maybe we can do multiple events a year. So, but I'm gonna start this nonprofit for basically to facilitate trad forums and to spread traditional values and to really engage the culture more and really influence politics too. So I have to look at what kind of organization I need to really do what I want to do. So, but mostly it's going to be to raise money to keep doing traditionalist events. Oh, wow. She's trying to get booked. Based homeschool mom's trying to get booked. Maybe even a based homeschool mom speech. I don't know. I don't know if we really do. We want women speaking? Is that traditional? I think maybe that would be a violation of traditionalist speeches. I mean, traditionalist values. So I'm just kidding. I do actually. Initially, we were supposed to have Stephanie Nicholas' speech, but she just had a baby. We knew that there was a possibility that she wouldn't be up to coming because she was pregnant when I booked her. But yeah, she wasn't up for driving from Canada to Indiana with her newborn. So, but congratulations to her. on her child and being married and all that. So the stream is going by really fast. I'm not even covering everything that I intended to. Rate a Musician sent a super chat, $3 on Entropy. I'm poor, so here's $3. Also, if you were to put a Brother Augustine, Luke Kindrat, Jay Dyer, Roosh, Marty Leeds, and Kurt Doolittle in a cage, who would come out triumphant? Well, I think Kurt Doolittle would piss himself. Marty Leeds, I don't even really know him. I'm going to say, based on the physiques of who was there, you didn't include DPH, so Luke is definitely a beast. That guy, I think Luke would come out triumphant in that. But maybe it would be a close toss-up between him and Brother Augustine's kind of fit too, but yeah, Roosh though is really tall. But I'm sticking with Luke Kindrat. My money's on Luke. Yeah, obviously our super soldier, Luke, Michael, and Brother Augustine. Are you calling me a super soldier? I was a soldier, but I've never been like jacked. Like I did one time lift weights and get pretty buff for a little bit, but that's true. I did beat the crap out of the LGBT pinata. I was a boxer for a few years, and so I actually took like a proper right hook on it. I was not expecting to be the one to break the pinata, but I broke it. I snapped it right at the bottom part, was just like crushed. So I was expecting like Luke to be the one to break it, but I broke it, and with the punching, I had my boxing gloves there. They were Muay Thai gloves, but yeah, fun times. For those who don't know, I was at Walmart and just picking up last minute things like tablecloths and drinks. And there was the we just in the party section, we see this rainbow, it's like LGBTQ colors in the shape of a turd. And I was like, how perfect is this? So I just had to get it as a prop, and each speaker would take a punch at it every time before their speech. Each speaker got to punch the LGBTQ poo-poo turd. And that was fun. We literally destroyed Pride Month. So it's official. June is now traditional Christian month. It's trad month. It's Christianity month. We have reclaimed the rainbow by destroying their poopy turd pinata. So it was pretty epic. Dr. Jones, he didn't want to punch it. He didn't want to hurt his hands. But how epic would that have been? To see Dr. E. Michael Jones punching the poopy turd? That would have been great. I might have to release the footage of everybody punching the turd, too. I'll have to give everyone that footage. But we'll definitely have to release me punching and breaking it. That'll have to be. We'll put that up on Twitter. And then maybe I can make pink news again for my bigotry. My bigotry. Let's see. All right, I do want to actually cover some of these other stories out there, which was covered quite a bit yesterday. I know Nick talked about it last night. I didn't watch his whole stream because I wanted to hear the kill stream last night because Witzke and Pete Diabroska were on it. But Revolver, props to them. They covered this. The unindicted co-conspirators in 1-6 cases raised disturbing questions of federal foreknowledge. One could say they literally planned it and executed it. which entrapment, by the way, is illegal. It's unconstitutional. Not sure if you know that, but it is. Of all the questions asked, words spoken, and ink spilled on the so-called Capitol siege of January 6, 2021, none hold the key to the entire event, quite like what Senator Amy Klobuchar asked of Christopher Wray. The Democrat from Minnesota asked the Trump-appointed FBI director, did the federal government infiltrate any of the so-called militia organizations claimed to be responsible for planning and executing the siege? Christopher Wray is able to uncomfortably weasel his way out of answering the question directly, partially because Klobuchar does him the courtesy of not asking him the question directly. Klobuchar instead asks the FBI director if he wishes he had infiltrated the militia organizations allegedly involved in 1-6, assuming from the outset that there was, in fact, no infiltration, thereby providing the FBI director an easy way to avoid addressing the question one way or another. Revolver News is willing to address the matter directly with the following 3 questions. In the year leading up to 1-6, during 1-6 itself, to what extent were the 3 primary militia groups, the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, and the 3 Percenters, that the FBI, DOJ, Pentagon, and Network News have labeled most responsible for planning and executing a Capitol attack on 1-6, infiltrated by agencies of the federal government or informants of said agencies? Exactly how many federal undercover agents or confidential informants were present at the Capitol or in the Capitol during the infamous siege, and what roles did they play? Merely passive informants or active instigators? Finally, of all the unindicted co-conspirators referenced in the charging documents of those indicted for crimes on 1-6, how many worked as a confidential informant or as an undercover operative for the federal government, FBI, Army counterintelligence, etc., etc.? To make a long story short, there are co-conspirators listed in these documents released by the government, but none of these co-conspirators who have committed more serious crimes than anyone that has been charged with the crime, none of these people have been charged with the crime. So to make a long story short, these people are feds. The Oath Keepers, the 3 Percenters. I don't want to talk about the other organization because, but there are some pretty fishy things, like one guy conveniently being arrested on a bogus gun charge the day before, not being at the rally. I don't know. Things are looking kind of fishy, but just my cognitive dissonance just wants to like that group. So, but these stupid groups like the Oath Keepers and the 3 Percenters, it's just feds. Don't join these groups. But basically, feds planned and orchestrated the so-called insurrection as a form of entrapment to basically persecute Trump supporters. It's not even a question to me. That's exactly what happened. Let's lure people into the Capitol on the 6th, while our federal agents are the ones engaging with the police who are breaking barriers and windows. But and then when the normal people, the just normal Trump supporters, are invited in to just walk in and be tourists, well, those are the ones who are falling for our trap, and we're going to charge them, and basically so that we can characterize and gaslight Trump supporters as domestic terror threats or radicals. So yeah, we don't even have to, there's no question as to what was going on. I know some people are talking about a certain Proud Boy leader in the chats. I don't want to, he worked with feds in the past, but he was like literally turning in human trafficking people. So I don't want to get too far into that. I don't know. Certainly the Proud Boys were infiltrated with feds for sure. But as far as Enrique himself, I know some people that know him. We're pretty good friends with them. I've met him. I don't know. That's all I can say is I don't know. So I know Milo's giving him a hard time over his child support. Ray says, release all the trad form footage. We will. To each speaker will get their speech. And it will be, it requires some work. My footage guy, my cameraman is on another shoot right now. He's doing this for free. He did not charge us. So Based Homeschool Mom says, my kids want to swim, so I have to go lounge by the pool. Sigh, if only I were wage slaving in a cubicle with the other strong women. Yeah, well, have a good time. Go swim. Enjoy your family. And hey, if you got any extended cousins, like maybe in their, some other trad cousins or something, like in their low 30s, late 20s, hook a brother up. Hook a brother up. I know you're becoming Orthodox. Congrats. Hey, I think Base Homeschool Mom said she's a catechumen now, or becoming in the process of becoming Orthodox. So congratulations. Yeah, this is true. The government wants dissidents to be paranoid and untrusting. And you could even see that leading up to the trad forum. People were like, this is going to be another Charlottesville and whatnot. It was nothing. It just was perfect. It was perfect. We got to hear our speech. We ate a German buffet. We drank some libations. We networked. We had a good time. And we heard some based speeches from some good Christian men. And then we went out to the bar. We had some cigars. Of course, Michael Witkoff did not go to the bar, but everybody else, the first bar we tried to go to was closed, apparently burned down. So we went 20 minutes down the street to another one, and we had a good time. We were out too late. I had a cigar in my mouth past midnight, and therefore I could not commune the next day, but these events happen so infrequently, that you really have to savor your time with these other like-minded people that you're meeting and really just celebrate. And so I'd say about 30 people from the trad forum, all dressed up. We just roll into this dive bar in Indiana, in the middle of nowhere. And the locals look at us like, who are these people? But I think the bar was delighted because we gave them a ton of business that night. Let's see. Ray says, were any couples formed the day of the trad forum? I don't think so. I think mostly everyone that came, all the women were married to one of the attendees. So I don't think there was much. Maybe next year we have to get some more single ladies out to the trad forum so that we can make this happen. I also wanted to cover just quickly. We'll hit it real fast. Media Right News reports the Biden administration wants you to report radicalized friends and family using Islamic terror reporting model. Joe Biden's administration is telling people that if they think their friends and family are being radicalized, report them to the authorities. This comes after Biden's attorney general says that they will not go after people for things like hate speech, which are protected by the First Amendment. But Joe Biden's Homeland Security is comparing this effort to that of the "if you see something, say something" campaign used to have people on the lookout for a radical Islamic terrorist. Now it appears that the government could be looking at anyone, including Trump supporters, in the same light after January 6th. If you aren't breaking the law, but your friends or family think your politics are too radical, they could report you to the federal government, who will in turn be taking a look at your life situation. Yes, they claim they will not go after people for their political opinions if they are not espousing violence, which sounds like a good thing. But will people's privacy be invaded simply because they attended a Trump rally or have a flag on their truck or free think about their political views? What if your friends or family think that the podcast you listen to, or maybe the podcast that you host, or the person you retweeted on Twitter is radical and therefore now thinks that you are radical too and tips off the government? Will your privacy be violated? We hope not. It's unclear what extent the government plans to go to, and if this is all really about keeping us safe, or if the government is actively against certain political ideologies. I think we all know what's going down. Yeah, Doug says, inflation, overthrow of prior law, genocide, fear, propaganda, bioterror, overthrow of human rights, totalitarianism, censorship of opposition, surrender of bloodstream, lockdowns. Yeah, he pretty much nailed it. Horatius says, I've heard the advice that you have to find a woman with similar values, but doesn't have to be a trad Christian, etc. Women, if they respect their husbands and trust them, will slowly adopt this. I think that's true. You don't have to I think Sam Hyde did a skit. If you're trying to find a woman that has all of your opinions exactly, you really you're not. It's just not going to happen. You're looking for a dude, bro. Now, women tend to adapt kind of these things from their men. I would say, obviously, for me, I can't date a liberal, but I'm not expecting a woman to just be, to know, to be to be completely woke on all of these things. That's just not going to happen. It's not realistic. I do kind of require that they at least be pro-life. So, and love God. And I really prefer Orthodox. I understand that's difficult too, but I'd be open to a Catholic. But they have to be Christian. They have to at least have, this understanding that God's real, that Christ is king, and that killing babies is wrong at a minimum. Yeah. Pro HD says, Ave Emperor, hope you're having a good day. I'm having a great day. It's actually been a really good day. So, not going to get much sleep tonight because my flight leaves really early in the morning. Not going to read your other comment, Doug, because yeah, John Hamilton says Orthodoxy is gaining popularity. That's true. Milo helped us the other day by just bringing awareness to thousands of people that we exist. So, not really in the way that I would like, but, giving us attention nonetheless. Anyways, I am traveling this weekend for business. I can't mix my other doing, because that would be an FEC violation on this platform. So, but I am going on business. I will have business expenses covered by the business account. However, I would like to do some recreation, and you can, if you want to help fund some of my fun while I'm in Florida, like my beach relaxation, and give me some recreation while I'm down there, and maybe buy me some Hawaiian shirts and some new dress shirts and ties, because those aren't covered as business expenses. You can send me some BSV, HandCash at Mike or $, MichaelSisco. These are in the description, or you can just send me some Cash App money, which is hashtag PrytaneumTimes. People are asking, what's up with Milo? What did Milo say? Milo is basically just trolling the Orthodox because he's Catholic and whatever. who cares? And but I do think he's sincere with his repentance to become his repentance from the homosexual lifestyle. I think he's sincere, and I wish him the best. Ultimately, I hope that he sees the light and becomes Orthodox. But I respect my Roman Catholic friends who try to live a holy and pious life with traditional Christian values. So, no, I haven't seen the Stephen Colbert interview, Ray. Maybe I should check that out. But yes, Milo's ex-gay. Horatius says he found me on Stephen Ignoramus's stream, and it was a great conversation. Hope to see you on there or him on here in the future. Yeah, I'd be certainly open to it. We love Stephen Ignoramus. He's a good friend of ours. I met him in DC at Stop the Steal. So, but anyhow, I'm gonna do one last check of the super chats. That's all I have for you. I'm gonna try and stream at least once a week going forward. So it's gonna be kind of random times because of as I mentioned, my business out of here, which most of you know. So I'm gonna try and stream more often. I know I've been letting you down. Took a break from streaming. So but forgive me. This the trad forum really motivated me to do it more often because meeting you guys in real life was like really cool. Just encouraging, gave me the motivation to keep going. So anyways, yes, Ray, it has to be a stream every time, okay? I don't have time to do the cutting and all that either. So this is actually less laborsome than making short videos. So, but I appreciate all of you. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and of course support the show. I do have a Patreon. I didn't put it in the links because right now I'm just trying to get some quick bucks for my Florida trip. So send me some shekels for Florida so that I can have a good time. Have a good time on the beach, lounging maybe on Sunday after church before my flight back. So, but there'll be plenty of pictures of me down there at the Faith and Freedom Coalition. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.